Hi there. I'm Kathy Stoddard-Torrey. I'm a leadership coach and trainer. And today I want to talk about a concept that has actually changed my life and the way I live it and the things that I've incorporated into it. And those are mostly the changes were required by COVID-19. We're all in a higher state of stress. And I was really feeling that. So I want to share this theory. I've done a short class on it. I think it's really useful. So it all started one day. I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, I think I just need to accept the fact that I am an angry old woman because I'm just mad all the time. And there was a beat, and then she said, "Me too." And I know enough to be careful of judging yourself. Am I really an angry old woman or not? I know that that's dangerous, but I know her and I know she's not an angry old woman. So I started listening to what other people were saying. And a lot of people were talking about not being able to sleep or having anxiety and panic attacks, and also being angry with me. So it was a lot of people that I knew it wasn't their normal state. And so, of course, it's no big surprise that we're all under more stress because of COVID-19. But I was looking for a way, I don't know, like a way to put handles on the concept so that we could pick it up and move it around and look at it in different ways. And is often the case, I found it on my bookshelf. It was a book that actually a couple books that I'd ordered a while back. And I looked at them and they are on polyvagal theory. Now, don't run off because so many times I try my stuff out on my friends and family, and I started talking about polyvagal theory, and their eyes would glaze over and they'd start going, Kathy. And it's really useful. And there's a lot of great concepts in there. And the book that I favor, the one I got a lot of the concepts out of, is called The Polyvagal Theory in Therapy. Right? I highly recommend it if you really want to know more about polyvagal theory. So why would you care about polyvagal theory? All right, hang with me. We have an autonomic nervous system, and our autonomic nervous system is what regulates our digestion, our heart rate, and breathing. All right, the automatic stuff. So it's our autonomic nervous system, and it has 3 states. Now, in the book, Deb Dana talks about them as being on a ladder, and I like her metaphor very much. So if you think about the 3 states are at the top, middle, and bottom of a ladder, and we move up and down the rungs. So the bottom is called the dorsal vagal state. Think of it as down in the hole. It is very low energy, a feeling. Now I've got a list here and I want to make sure I don't miss any. Hopeless, abandoned, tired, empty, lost, unreachable, helpless, depressed, and unworthy. Man, those, I can just feel like the energy drain from me even reading them. The physical effects in the body can be heart disease, low blood pressure, digestion issues, sleep issues, memory problems. Yeah, good. I can blame that on that, not old age for a while. And depression, chronic fatigue, and this one's really most important, and it is disassociation. It's where we become hermits. We distance everyone from us. Not healthy and not the way to help us get to the highest state. All right, let's go over the states first. The middle one is ruled by the sympathetic nervous system. And most of us know that as fight or flight, right? Where it's very high energy, high anxiety, very watchful. Like we're just looking for, danger and problems. It's like we're constantly scanning the horizon for what's wrong. All right. So the feelings in here are anxious, angry, chaotic, isolated, fearful of danger, frustrated, and worried. Now you can hear the tension in all of those emotions. And in our body, it can lead to heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, stomach problems, sleep problems, weight gain, memory impairment, once again, headaches. Man, that's my thing. Headaches, chronic neck, shoulder, and back tension, also my thing. Lowered immune system. So in both of those states, we're actually less able to fight off viruses. And then this one I find fascinating. It is problem hearing vocal range. So the sympathetic nervous system controls the muscles in the middle ear. And when we're in that high state of watchfulness, I call it like Superman, high alert, it changes our middle ear so that we hear high frequencies, people screaming, and we hear low frequencies like animals growling at us, but we don't hear the mid vocal range. So that's the other thing I'm going to blame on that instead of old age, is that I'm having more trouble hearing people's voices. Right? Okay, so let's go up to the top, which is the one we want, of course, and that one is the ventral vagal state. I call it victory, V for victory, ventral vagal state. And in that one, let me read off those feelings: joy, passion, curiosity, peace, compassion, and self-compassion. Very, very important that we give ourselves a break in this state. Appreciation, fun, focus, hopeful, and safe. Right? Those are, to me, those are very comforting emotions. And then the effects in our body is a healthy heart, regulated blood pressure, healthy immune system so that we are actually more resistant to disease, good digestion, quality sleep, and an overall sense of well-being. So yeah, definitely we want to be up at the top in the ventral vagal. But before we talk about ways to get there, because all right, so in coaching, it's first about awareness, like learning about something, raising our awareness and self-awareness on a topic, and then we take action. So this video is on raising our awareness of polyvagal theory and what each of those states feels like in our own bodies, all right, so that we can recognize it. There is I've written a blog, and the first one is the first parter, and it also is on raising awareness. The next one will be on steps to take. And so if you want like the written version of this video, you can go to my website and go to my blog and then search for Polyvagal Theory Part 1, right? Okay, but what I want to do is for us to go into each of the states and kind of figure out what it feels like, looks like for us, because it's important that we can identify them before we can take steps to move up and down the rungs. It is important, let's see what else, hybrids. There are 2 hybrid states. The first one is a hybrid between the ventral vagal and the sympathetic nervous system, and together they give us that sense of healthy competition. Right? So those 2 are working together. The other hybrid state is ventral vagal and dorsal vagal, giving us a sense of quiet and peace in being still. So instead of being just plain dorsal vagal where we have no energy, but we're low and feeling like everything's hopeless, when they work together, it's more of a meditative state and also cuddling. So those are the things when those work together. Now, it's important to know that we can't jump up and down the ladder. So we can't start at dorsal vagal and then just jump up to ventral vagal. You've got to like move through the rungs as we go up. So when I first started doing this, the first thing I did was figuring out what state I was in. And what I realized is that I was waking up for the most part in dorsal vagal, which is low energy. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to face the day. There's really no point. This whole thing is hopeless, right? So once I got a handle on the theory and realized what was going on, I thought, okay, so how can I move up? I can't just jump up into ventral vagal. I've got to step up. And so what I thought about was, well, how can I get that sense of healthy competition? And I have a coaching friend, and she's doing so well. And I love her and I'm proud of her. And I want to be her. I want to be like her. And so I thought about her and I was like, you know what? I can do that. I can do what she does. And, got some energy up, got out of bed, and then was able to move on with my day and make it productive and useful, which then in turn helped fuel and move me up the rungs. So there's a few questions, and this is like your homework before next time, is just get into each state and then really think about it. And here's the questions. The first one is, what does it feel like, look like, and sound like in this state? So let's start with dorsal vagal because we always want to start at the bottom and work our way up so we end high. So if we really think of a time when we're really low, back to a time, when things felt a little hopeless, then like, what did it feel like? Where did you feel it? Like for me, it's just a weight everywhere. I just feel like every cell in my body has a lead weight attached to it. If I was going to put a sound to it, it would just be a moan. It would just be like, oh, because that's dorsal vagal to me. Sound like, I guess the sound like is the moan. The look like, sorry, I missed look like. What would it look like? It's just darkness. It's just a big dark hole that I cannot get out of. What happens in your body? For me, it's the fatigue, the absolute feeling that I cannot move. And the things I think, say, and do is the next piece. I think everything's hopeless. I say things that are more negative, and I don't do a whole lot of anything when I'm in dorsal vagal. And then this last question is an important one. What is your relationship with food, sleep, and use of substances? So for me in dorsal vagal, I don't eat. So I lose weight if I'm just really super down for a while. I don't sleep well. And my substance of choice is red wine. And I probably drink more red wine when I'm in dorsal vagal. And it's not a happy space for me at all. All right. So the next one up, so let's leave that one, take a breath, and we're going to go into the sympathetic nervous system state, and it is high energy. It's anxiety. So what does it feel like, look like, sound like? It feels very tense. I see it as like electricity, jagged, crackling. Sound like it's me probably being short. I mean, I was talking to someone about this, and I'm like, I have enough emotional intelligence, and part of that is self-management, not to yell at people. I mean, I just, for the most part, don't. It's very rare for me to snap at someone. But lately, it's been harder for me. Like, I usually don't even have snappy things in my head. And that's what it sounds like, is the quick, nasty comebacks that show up in my head when I'm in the sympathetic nervous state. What happens in your body? Oh, for me, it's all over the neck, shoulders. It's up like this. I just am so tense. I mean, I can actually feel my shoulders coming up near my ears when I'm in that state. Think, say, and do. It's all, I go into more of the blame game when I'm in the sympathetic, because you're watching for danger, and you're like, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that, And anyone who's been in my classes knows with that, we have a magic wand of destiny, which I just happen to have right here. If you've seen my classes or heard me before, we have a magic wand of destiny, and that it only works on ourselves. So other people, it just totally doesn't work. And yet when I'm in sympathetic nervous system state, I do try sometimes, at least in my head. Relationship with food, sleep, and substances. Let's see, food, I eat more. So it's just that high energy kind of snacking. So if I'm in that state for very long, I can gain weight. Don't sleep at all. I just am normally a great sleeper. I don't sleep at all. And use of substances. Not as much wine as in dorsal vagal, but still red wine is my substance of choice there. All right, so you see what I'm doing, and this is for me. So what I'm doing is figuring out, I know that I'm in this state when I feel, think, do these things. All right, it's really getting a feel for each state. All right, so let's do the last one. Take a breath and leave all of that behind. All right, so let's go to the last one, which is ventral vagal victory. All right, so look like, sound like, feel like. Okay, peaceful. Like for me, it feels and sounds very peaceful. Like if I had to pick a metaphor for a vision, it's like looking at a still body of water, with the sun sparkling off of it, light breeze, just very relaxed. In my body, shoulders are down, muscles are loose. Even breathing differently. Like we're in the other two states, sometimes we breathe more shallowly. And in the ventral vagal, it's way deeper breaths, out and in. Very peaceful, deep breathing. Think, say, and do. I can actually quiet my mind in that state, in the ventral vagal state, so that it's not just constantly running all the time. So some of that thinking is not thinking. It's just being able to be still. And I presume good intent more when I'm in a ventral vagal state, instead of like assuming you're, being a jerk on purpose, trying to annoy me, I really presume good intent way more often. Food, sleep, and use of substances. Healthy eating, I find that I cook more, like healthy food. I'm not a cook and I'm not very good at it. I don't really like it. But if I'm in the ventral vagal state, I find myself cooking better food. Sleep, I sleep so much better, which is the way I normally sleep. And use of substances, still drink red wine, but more of a savoring, with a meal, not like oh my gosh, give me a glass of wine. All right, so those are my examples just to help you. Your homework, if you choose to take on some homework before next time, to raise your own awareness of how you feel in those states, is to look at those questions in each state and think, like how do I feel? What does my body do? What emotions? What are my tip-offs that I'm in a certain state? Right? Because that's our first step. Once we know all of that and we're comfortable with identifying the states that we're in, then we can move up and down the rungs using the techniques that I'm going to talk about next time. So until we meet again, the awesome in me says, hey, you are doing a great job, to the awesome in you.